Yes, hi. Welcome to the Jazzy and Classy Show. And of course, we have the other Tony Bennett, who is a singer, songwriter, and he's a booking agent. How you doing, Tony?
All right, pretty good.
Good. And then our special guest today is Pastor O. And how are you doing, Pastor O?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. Thank you for inviting me on your show, and thank you to Tony for having me on this show.
Anytime.
Yes. And you are an author, you're an award-winning poet, entrepreneur, Tribune columnist, and much, much more. So
Yeah.
we're going to start off with where did you grow up at?
I grew up in West Oak Lane, right on Ogons and the corner of Ogons and Spencer Street.
How was that for you?
Oh, I love that area. My parents moved there when I think I was 3. I talk about that all the time because when I see someone in that area, if you need, people will always help you. Every time, that's one thing about that area. My car broke down one time. These two guys came to help another lady. I ended up taking the bus, and I hadn't taken the bus in years. So
Okay,
I asked her, and she's like, "Don't worry about it. I'll pay it for you." So
right,
West Oak Lane is
right.
a great place, and it still is.
Yes, a lot of good neighbors.
Yes.
People who still have those family values, I would say.
Yeah. Well, they
So
care.
yes, yes.
They
And
care.
so you have been a Tribune columnist. Could you tell us about that?
Well, I was a Tribune columnist from 1993 to 2005. My column was called The Poet's Pen. I had named it. I had went to the Tribune to give them an idea about having a poetry column and give local poets exposure. And we have 2 poets of the month winners. And
Yes.
at the time, I was working for the Christian News Chronicles newspaper, magazine.
Okay.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I told the managing editor at that time, he says, "That's a great idea. We're going to hire you as the poetry columnist." So I just got hired on the spot. And I
Right.
would tell you, I've had a lot of positions, and that was the most rewarding as far as interacting with people because I really like to. And I would do different things throughout the city, have different poetry readings. We have, like I said, poets of the month, and the photographer would come and take their picture. Then we would go in school, like the kids would have something going on. We would go into schools for the little kids to share their poems. There was one little girl I'll never forget. She wrote this poem, and she said, "He married Coretta Scott, and then he got shot." I said, she just summed up Martin Luther King's life all in one. It was they were doing 2-line rhymers, and that's what she came up for. And the other writers and the children, we laughed about it. We remember her. She's grown now, probably have kids of her own, but we thought that
Okay.
was funny. Mhm.
All right. You wrote a new book. Would you talk a little bit about that? Your book about
Yes,
sermons called
here
Pebbles?
it is. It's called Preaching Pebbles. I don't know if you can
Right.
see
Yes, I
Preaching Pebbles. You can? Yes, Preaching Pebbles. Um, it's about how many? It's 71 pages. It has 31. It's a collection of sermonettes.
okay.
I'm a pastor, and during when the pandemic came about, everybody just shut down. So what I started doing is writing Preaching Pebbles. Although I was preaching longer, Preaching Pebbles, most of them was about 2 paragraphs. I would
Right.
condense it and put it on Facebook. And that went on it's still going on because I had said when we got back to the church, I was going to stop it because I was trying to find a way. Because when the church closed up, we meet in another church. We couldn't even
Okay.
get our microphone or anything, so I couldn't like preach at home. So I started writing, which is one of my gifts that I love. And so a pastor said to me, she said, "You ought to make that a book." And
Mm-hmm.
she said, "People will like it." So it's doing good. It's on Amazon, Amazon.com. You just go on my name. I have that, and also I have a coloring book that Who Says Only is Lonely. I should have brought that here. And that's about
Right.
all the great things of being an only child for someone who's just going to have one kid, one child. So yeah, Preaching Pebbles. I'll tell you, the last one, we weren't sure that Amazon would get it in because we had submitted everything. And I had preached
Mm-hmm.
this one Sunday, and my daughter had said, you have to, it's God, send it to them. Maybe they'll do it. It's called Don't Have a Doubt Mouth. So
Mm-hmm.
she loved the sermon. And so they did. Even though they had closed it off, when I sent it, they put it in there anyway. So that's Preaching Pebbles. It's doing really good on
Right.
Amazon, and some people are buying 2 and 3 copies. And so
Makes
it's
sense.
like if you're home and you want collection of sermonettes, and some things are funny. Like in my sermons, I have characters like Lucy loved the Lord. She loves the
Mm-hmm.
Lord, but she doesn't like his people. She comes to church, she prays the Lord, and when she leaves, she just goes, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. She don't speak to nobody. So I also have Brother Don't Do. He doesn't do anything, but he can tell you what to do. Then we he can tell you to do nothing, but he can always tell you
Mhm.
what to do in church. And I have another one. What was that? She's I can't remember her. I also have Criticizing Cousin, and always got something. But the one I was thinking of, if you buy a house, she'll come over to your house and say, you don't have a garage. Whatever you don't have, she will find it. So these are my
Okay.
characters. And at one
I
point I
know
was going
those
to
types.
make a play. Huh?
I know those types.
Yeah, I know. They're funny, it's funny, but it's true. It makes
Mhm.
characters all in the church, which is fun. Variety is the spice of life.
Yes.
But Brother Don't Do, he will sit there and he will say, you need to do something all the time. And he's not helping at all. So that's some of the characters. I think a couple of them made it in here. Also have something called Don't Look Back in here. And it's talking about Lot's wife and how,
Mm-hmm.
don't look back. Because if you look back, you'll stay in a salty situation, if you know what I mean.
Yes. More than one way.
Yeah,
All those things can be applicable for today.
yes, I'm trying to put it
Yes.
so you can see. Let's see. Okay,
Yes.
there
I
you
can.
go.
It'll
You
be
can
in the
see it.
broadcast.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm
I
sure.
think I'm going to order a couple of those books myself, but I'll get back
Oh,
to you.
thank you. Yeah, okay.
Hmm.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's Preaching Pebbles. And I always laugh because I said I was a pageant contestant, I was a poet, a preacher, a pastor, and a pound cake maker. All P's, and I
Right.
praise the Lord for everything.
We're going to get to those things. And you brought up the fact that you are a pound cake maker, a
Yeah,
delicious pound cake maker. And you have an aunt Sophia, a delicious homemade pound cake.
that's company.
I want you to tell me how that came about.
Well, my mother used to always make these pound cakes. I was known in the neighborhood for mother that make the pound cakes all the time. And even when I was at work, I used to be a college counselor at a university. And, when they have parties or something, I bring the cake in. So she passed away. And I was out of work for like 3 weeks. So my first day back, I came and it was a little truck out in front. I would stop and get a corn muffin. That was my thing, a corn muffin with coffee. But I was running late, and I didn't want to be late on my first day back, so I grabbed a slice of pound cake. And when I tasted it, I talked out loud and said, "My mother make a better pound cake than this." So the owner of the truck, he said, "How are you going to sell my pound cake in front of my customers?" He said, if your mother make a better pound cake than mine, I want you to make the cake and bring it here so I can taste it and I can sell it on my truck. I said, no, my mother passed away. Didn't you notice I was gone? Because I would go there every day. And he said,
Right.
can't you make it? And I said, yeah, but I don't do, I'm a college counselor. I have a busy life. So I didn't do it
Hmm.
right away. Like 3 years later, kept on. He just kept on. And when I got back to my job, when I got into the department, I had told
Hmm.
in there, and she said, we were sitting here saying, I hope that recipe didn't go in the ground. We wasn't gonna say anything to you when your mom, about it because she just passed away. So then my mother made me learn the recipe by heart when I was 17. And she kept
Right.
saying, don't write my recipe down. People want it. I'm gonna give them a different one. You're the only one to have it, and all. So what happened was I waited a while, and one of my aunts was living at my mom's house. I went over there one day. She had packed up everything. She said, "Go home and see if you can." I said, "It's been so long. Well, I remember it." She said, "No, ask the daughters because they get to taste the batter." So we went
Right.
in home, and I mixing it. As I was mixing, I started remembering it because remember, by heart at 17, I'm way past 17 now. And then we put it in the oven, and we looked at it and said, "It's rising like grandma's." And we took it out, and it tastes like it. So I just took it to the truck so he could taste it. He's like, "Yes, I want to sell it." I said, "I'm not selling no pound cake." No, I said, "You said you want to know." And he hounded me so much. So the business actually started on 2 trucks on a university campus. And it went there to Noble on campus. It just escalated. And then we got the contract with a supermarket. That's when we went full force with it. So yeah, people love Aunt Ophi's pound cake. Our slogan, I'm a writer, so the slogan is "The cake you'll adore and come back for more."
Oh, that'll
Yeah,
do it.
yeah. And
That'll
when I
do
go,
it.
you're like, yes, and people say you're right, and they'll come back and buy more slices because when we're at the night market, they'll leave and they'll come back and they'll buy one slice and they go, I want. So it's because it's all natural, and you
Right.
know what? It has a slogan on it, and it's on there, and it says, uh, I have a slice here. It says, I'm see if you can see it. Believe in
Yeah.
God for everything, and you will conquer anything. And
Right.
I like to evangelize outside, and when I was uh, home for the pandemic, and I was like, oh, I really am not doing my job. Like I was talking to God, and he said, yes, you are, because your cake is getting in places you can't get, and you got that slogan about me. So I feel good,
Mhm.
and no one has said anything about taking it off, or no, it just says that. And one
Right.
lady had called and she left a message. She said, I was having a bad day at work and I didn't know what I was going to do. And I bought a slice and I read that and now I have hope. And I said, wasn't that nice for her to stop and
Yeah. So you
Mhm.
deliver, right?
What'd you say?
You deliver, right? Deliver the pound cake?
We deliver. Yeah, we're in stores. We deliver. We have
Yeah.
some person that delivers for us. Some stores I deliver because some of the stores I can't let the delivery person handle the funds for it. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay. I
yeah,
understand. I
uh-huh.
understand. Mm-hmm.
Not that they're
So,
not trustworthy. I just want to keep them trustworthy.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I want to talk about the youth and what you're teaching the youth about business.
Oh my goodness. This started in 2016. We were 10, 10th anniversary. Started a workshop because where I worked at, I was responsible for doing teaching workshops every semester. So I started a workshop because I feel like a lot of kids are coming out of college and they might not be getting the jobs that, right away. So if you have a business too, I even told them, because I just had one Tuesday, it was at the Fox Chase Library. I said, if
Okay.
you can get um, go to school for the gift you have, you'll never work again because it won't be work to you. Like I'm a
Right.
public speaker and a preacher, and I can be sitting. I was at a service one time and somebody didn't show up. And it was like, I said, yeah, I can. And as I'm walking up, I'm saying, you know what, help me, please, because I done said this. I just walked up. My father was like that. He could just walk up and talk, and I'm like him. And so I told him, now our workshop, I show them the licenses, but you know what else I do? I teach them how to talk to people. I teach
Nice.
them how to present themselves. And I tell them, don't look down with the person, in the eye. Look around, don't look down. And they, I ask them to sell me a product. And they do. So, and then they get a slice of cake to decorate. We don't ice in our cake, but I do have a little what they call kids kits. And I put a little
Mhm.
icing in there and Jimmy's and stuff. They get to do that. They love
Yeah.
it. That's the second time we've been at Fox Chase and Coleman Library. We were there 2 times last year, 2 times this year, And they're thinking about me doing it for the adults because the parents come and they keep wanting us to do for the adults.
Right.
And yeah, so and then back in 2019, we were over New Jersey. We were at Merchantsville Library. We've been at Cherry Hill, Pensauken. We've been to Cherry Hill 3 times. We're at Merchantsville. Thanks to one of my cousins, Joyce Davis. She was instrumental in having us come to her library.
Okay.
So the kids like it. They have a good time. And you know what? At the end, Butter Bear comes out. You seen Butter Bear, didn't you?
Yes, I have.
He comes out. He comes out. They love him. Grown people love him.
Yes.
When we're doing fundraisers, I want to take a picture with him. Grown people like so, yeah, he's funny. He really is. And sometimes kids' parties, they'll have Butterbear come, and he comes with a whole pound cake. But the parents say, we're not giving the kids that good cake. We're going to eat that cake. They can have that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's,
So,
with it.
do you want to give a shout out to your congregation?
Yes, Scriptures Evangelistic Ministries. I've been a pastor since 2003. I got installed. My church first was in North Philadelphia, and it was right off of 17th in Ontario. Then we went to around 22nd. Then after that, we moved up to where we at now, Cotman and Lawndale. So
Okay.
I want to shout out to Mother Darlene and Missionary Arlene and my 2 daughters, of course. We have some
Mhm.
people. We have Alex there, and he comes in sometimes, and we just have a nice time. We used to have something called Coffee and Cake with Christ.
Yeah.
And I
Mm-hmm.
had that for a long time. It was nice, and I wish I could have invited you. We had to stop it since the pandemic, and we haven't come back
Right.
to do this. Because it's a lot of different rules now. Because people would just come into church, and we didn't have to have no security. Now it's a lot different.
It's a lot different now, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and the people didn't come back to church. They're still reading Peach and Pebbles.
Right, right.
I saw a church
So,
last week say, "Come back home," and they were trying to get the church members to come, and they got used to watching. So,
right. So let's talk about your award-winning poetry. Can you talk about some of those poems?
yes, and I'm going to recite the one you like so much. But
Yes.
yeah, I got awards. This particular one that
Mm-hmm.
you put back because I have a book. I have 8 books altogether, and I think 5 of them are poetry books. And a couple of them, one of them is called Sister, What Are You Teaching? And that one, I took a verse of each poem and made a chapter out of it. And so
Right.
this one is called Best Believe, and this is the one that you
I
like, the
love that.
poem.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
this one was featured in Publishers Weekly. I was so happy when I found that they featured me for this book called Best Believe. So and then I have Preaching Pebbles, I have Messages from My Heart, Treasured Thoughts, and we also did a children's book for our business, and that's called Butter Bear and Aunt Ophia Pound Cake Adventure.
Mm-hmm.
And I should have brought that one up here too. And what happens is Butter Bear is a little baby bear, and it's about my father. He he wandered. My father loved barbecues, so little bear wanders onto the barbecue, and he sees a basket. I don't know if it's pound cake, and it's funny because my daughter's illustrated. Her eyes is up, and he tries to snatch some, and he knocks the whole basket over. So the next time my dad had a barbecue, he got a little basket, and he told them, "Leave that over there. That's for my little bear friend, Butter Bear." That's how Butter Bear got his name. So
Okay.
yeah, so it's that, and so I got quite a few books. I have one called "Don't Judge Me," and some of the books that you wrote back in the '90s are not user friendly for now. So
Right.
that one is out of print. hmm It was like
And
"Don't Judge Me." Go ahead.
I can't forget too that you are a pageant winner. You are in
Oh,
pageant too.
yeah. I've been in
Mm-hmm.
pageants. my younger daughter said, Mom, I seen a senior pageant. I said, oh no, I'm not doing that. I was in 13 pageants. I placed or won.
Mm-hmm. Hold on. It froze. Just hold on.
Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Okay, we can go on then.
Okay.
So you are going to recite the
I'll
poem.
be reading that poem and you
Hold
and the
on.
Mhm.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Can you recite that poem?
I'm gonna recite it now before it's called
Yeah,
Best
I
Believe.
want. Yeah, yes.
Best believe there is a reason for everything, and God will give you the strength to conquer anything. Best believe that what you do in life is important enough for you to complete it and carry it through. Then you can best believe that with God's blessings, along with the hard work you put forth and do, all your hopes and your dreams that you wish for will eventually come true.
Yes, I remember hearing and singing that poem along with other poems.
Yeah.
You have a great poetry column in the Tribune
Yeah, I didn't
newspaper.
put my poems in there that often. I didn't,
Yeah.
put that often. Um, and sometimes they would feature. They had something called Save the Children. They would have a featured the Tribune where everything in the whole newspaper. So they would ask me to do um, a particular poem. I remember he had called one time. He said, "I know you say the Lord tells you when to write poems. I hope He tell you to write one by tomorrow morning because we need it." It was so funny, and he did.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I yeah, that poem people like it. Just well, actually, that poem, the slogan that's on the cake, that's the
Hmm.
slogan. That's what I took from that to make the
Right.
slogan. Hmm.
Okay, I just want to stop here. I want to tell the watching, listening audience
Hmm.
to share and like this video. Go to YouTube and Jazzy and Classy Show, the other Tony Bennett, and like and share this video. Thank you, and we'll get back to you with more poetry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to? Okay. With
Yeah.
this one, I
Mm-hmm.
have. Let me see if I have it in this book because this one here, I was Women's Day chair, and that's a whole for the church years ago when I wasn't a pastor. God gave me this poem real late one night because there was so much going on, and I couldn't believe that people vote you in and then they cooperate. But anyway, it's called Just Keep On Praying and Pulling. We each have a wagon to pull through life's journey. Some of us pull it slow, others may pull it in a hurry. Just keep praying and pulling. Don't give up the fight, whatever the loads, whether heavy or light. Sometimes it may seem those you ask for a helping hand jump in the wagon instead of pulling, which you don't understand. Just keep praying and pulling. God will open up a way. He knows your load is extra heavy and you need help today. Then you see folks being helped who have lighter loads. Just keep praying and pulling as you make it down those bumpy roads. Now you look up, there is a hill. Your back is breaking and your heart is aching, while others are looking and laughing and saying, "Don't help," watching you pull that heavy wagon by yourself. Just keep praying and pulling. Don't give up the fight. God sees it all. He knows you're not being treated right. He didn't bring you this far for you to fall from grace. Just keep praying and pulling with a smile on your face. Suddenly,
Mm.
you're filled with the Holy Spirit to the top of your head, and there's no heaviness in your wagon, just love and kindness instead. Now you're praising Him, Paul, because the load has become very light. God has answered your prayers, and everything will be all right.
Mm. Can't say anything better. Can't say
Yes.
anything better. So, do you want to give out some contact numbers
Yes,
for
I'll
your
give
business?
my
And
email.
yes.
I'm available for speaking engagements. My our business line is 215-927-1543, and also my cell is 267-726-0707. Again, it's 215-927-1543. Cell is 267-726-0707. Our email address is aunt.orphia@yahoo.com. That's AUNTORPHIA at yahoo.com. Our website is aunt.orphia.com. It's just aunt.orphia.com. AUNTORPHIA.com.
Okay, great. And
Mhm.
so, again, this is Jazzy and Classy with your host, Shirley J. Carter. Today
Mhm.
we have Pastor O. And again, like and share the YouTube video. Like and share the YouTube video. And
Mhm.
I have one more question for you.
Sure.
What advice would you give the youth today as far as business?
Well, the advice I give them for the workshop is called Breaking into the Baking Business Workshop, but it's for any business because I show the licenses, everything you need, and how much it would cost and everything. Like I said, I feel as though kids should have a business along with going to college, and
Yes, yes,
also get get your degree in the field of your business. So when you come out, you can work for yourself. My dad used
right.
to always say, he said, um, never be too proud to do anything long as it's legal. And he said also, um, work, always have something extra. So when someone lays you off or you lose your job, you can work from your house to stay in your house, and
Yes, that's good advice. Not just for the youth, that's good advice for anyone.
it
That's
is.
good
And
advice.
it is. And I always had a business. All in college and high school, I was making African beats. I always had something going on. So this is
Yes.
the first time I'm working full time doing it. But anyway, but I love your show, and the name of the show must be after you because you're definitely jazzy and classy.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Now, will you be a guest again?
Yes, if you want to invite me back on, I would appreciate it.
I would love it. I would love it.
Okay.
And I'd like to hear how the youth are progressing with the workshops.
Well, the one over in Merchantsville, we had
Mhm.
two little, I don't know the girl. My One of my daughters handles the Instagram on I don't know if he's pound cake. See, my business, we're a family business, so everybody handles different things. Like my older daughter handles the website. The younger one, she handles the Instagram page. People try to contact me. I'm not on it. So we went over in Merchantsville, and the kids really listened, and the parents were there too. And they said, we had no idea you had to have all those licenses and insurance to be in the supermarkets and stores. So one little girl, after we left, she wrote in that she started a jewelry business, and
Mhm.
another little girl wrote on Facebook, on Instagram, and said she started a cupcake business.
Okay,
So
great.
we're making an impact. We're making an impact on them, and we used to just have teens, but now we have tweebs. We have the preteens as well because
Right.
a lot of kids when they come to the library they have their younger siblings, so I tell them to bring the siblings in because you don't want to be in the workshop and your siblings out there doing something and you don't know. So
Yes.
we start seeing the ones that are 10 and 9, they're just as interested as the older ones.
Okay. Well, I want to thank every you for being a guest on Jazzy and Classy. And
Mhm.